What's up, guys? Was just reading in my QT this morning in Acts, and I thought I came across a pretty cool truth that I thought I was supposed to share with everybody. Paul and Barnabas were ministering to this town, and Paul noticed this guy who had some messed up feet, and he was like, "This guy could be healed." He sees his faith, and so he heals him. He says, "Get up. Stand up, walk," and the guy does it, and then the crowds go crazy. They start shouting. They say, "The gods have come down to us. They've come in human form." They decided that Barnabas was Zeus and Paul was Hermes. Before they knew it, the priest of Zeus, whose temple was prominent in that city, came to the city gates with oxen and garlands of flower, so that the Lycaonians, I don't know how you pronounce that, could offer sacrifices in worship to Paul and Barnabas. When they heard of this, Paul and Barnabas were beside themselves with frustration. They ripped their tunics as an expression of disapproval and rushed out into the crowd, shouting, "Friends, no, don't do this. We're just humans like all of you. We're not here to be worshipped. We're here to bring you good news. Good news that you should turn from these worthless forms of worship and instead serve the living God, the God who made the heaven and the earth and the sea and all that they contain." Through all previous generations, God has allowed all the nations to follow their own customs and religions, but even then, God revealed himself by doing good to you, giving you rain for your crops and fruitful harvest season after season, filling your stomachs with food and your hearts with joy. Now, it might not be quite as obvious as this, but I think we've got to be very careful in leadership, in ministry, that we do not become objects of worship, and I think that it's not as obvious. It's subtle, but many times kids or anybody that we're leading can see us and living our life for God the way that we are, on fire for God, and they can see that light and that excitement and that Holy Spirit in us, and they can be like, they are different. I want to be like them. And then they can put it all on us. And if we're not careful, we can take it and not even be aware of it. I think the reason that Paul and Barnabas were able to see that they were being worshipped so well is because they were focused on God. And so I think that's why it's so important for us to be focused on God, so that we can recognize it, so that we can always be aware and seize every opportunity to point to Jesus. Not to us, but to point to Jesus, to point to God and say, no, you don't understand. The only reason that I am the way I am is because I'm full of God. That's the only reason. It's not me. It's not that I'm doing so well. When people, a lot of people are always like, well, I don't even know how he does it. How can he live that way? Like, I can't be that good. There's something special about them where they're able to be that good, or where they're able to follow the rules that well. And it's just important for us to say, no, you don't understand. It's not us. Don't do this. We're just humans. We're just people. We don't have anything special about us. It's Jesus. It's God. It's God in us that makes us different. That's why. And then at the last part of this, I just thought it was cool how they said, through all the previous generation, God has allowed all the nations to follow their own customs and religions, but even then, God revealed himself by doing good to you. He gave you rains for your crops and fruitful harvest season after season. And I think sometimes maybe when you're in ministry and you show somebody love for the first time, they can come with this question of, well, if God is real, if this God that you talk about is good, then why haven't I seen it before? And that's why they can get confused and say, it's you that's being good to me, not God that's being good to me. It's you that's loving me, not God that's loving me. But when in reality, God's been loving them all along. The reason they have breath in their lungs, the reason their heart beats, the reason they haven't starved to death over the years, the reason they haven't had to look for clean drinking water because they've had drinking water, it's because God's been good to them. It's because God's provided for them for this long and revealed himself, and they just were unaware of it. So all we've done in our little time with them is to say, hey, now you're aware. it's God that's done that, not us. It's God that's been doing that. It's God that's been taking care of you. So just a little reminder that we need to be careful not to be worshipped, because I think people can look up to us and see us as like heroes and see us as being more than just humans, when that's all we are. And all we can do is point to Jesus and point to God and say, it's not us, it's special, it's God. And we got to be careful that we're always doing that we're always deferring, and that we're always pointing to Jesus. Love you.